Hi viewers, I'm just doing this little video which I'm calling time compression or pole shift. It's something that's been brought to my attention over quite a long period of time, and it seems to just be wanting to be acknowledged more and more, and I think perhaps over a period of time I've gathered more information about it too, both in listening to others and watching things physically outside and noticing and hearing news events around the globe. I would say it started back in 2011 in June, which here in the southern hemisphere is our winter, and that's when I noticed outdoor strawberries growing in my garden, fruiting, which is a particularly rare phenomenon. I've never seen that occur before, so I made a video of that and watched that particular bunch of strawberries for a little while growing and producing fruit, and thought at the time, this is very odd. And around about the same time we had an occurrence in Sicily where it was noted, and I think this did make the headlines but to a very small degree, that several cities around in Sicily were noting anomalies with their clocks, and they were gaining up to 20 minutes a day, and this was going on for 2 or 3 weeks. And I also think somewhere in America there was a same type of situation that occurred. Now, no one could explain the reasoning behind that. They did try to fob it off at some stage to some sort of, I don't know, maintenance that they were doing on the electrical input that comes into cities, but I doubt very much that that was a truthful reasoning. So I started noticing myself and taking a close look at all the clocks that I came in contact with just myself, both at work and around home and at people's houses and in my cars. And for a while last year they were really going out of control, the clocks. Two clocks that we had at work on our wall, both of them played up. One was going a lot faster and it was daily gaining time, and another clock was oddly enough losing time. At the two cars we have here at home, they both had time issues. One of them was really, really bad. It would just fluctuate wildly with its electronic clock, which is a computer-driven mechanism, and it's very unusual to see those. It's a fairly new car, so it was unusual to see anomalies like that. And I have an older clock here that's a chime clock that was handed down to me from my father, and that also started showing a strange pattern which it had never done before. So I was watching these events with quite a lot of interest and noting it wasn't just on the other side of the world, I was also experiencing it firsthand. And then this spring, which for us here in the southern hemisphere started in September of 2011, the mature oak trees that border our section, and they are possibly somewhere between 20 to 40 years old, they started to come, they were showing signs of their spring growth very, very late. I would say 3 weeks up to a month late. Now that piqued my interest anyhow. And then when the leaves did come in, very soon after there was a production of acorns on the trees, and that started in December, which I have never noticed that occurrence before. Then I noticed the leaves were starting to turn brown already, as if there was signs of autumn. And I started to look around at a lot more trees within the neighbourhood and the Auckland vicinity, and noticed a lot of dying trees of all sorts, both deciduous and native trees and evergreens, and I've been taking record of that, wondering what caused that event, and then trying to tie all of these events together, and I've sort of come to the conclusion that there was a time issue. Now finally we're starting to see a few more videos come from the northern hemisphere, and you guys up there are all saying that your seasons appear to be being mixed up. You're still in winter, but you're getting a lot of spring signs, both with your plants and animals like migrating birds coming back in long before they should be. You've got little spring bulbs popping up. You've had less snow than normal. And for instance, in New Zealand, in the middle of January here, we had really heavy snow that settled on our mountains in the Southern Alps when it should be 30 degrees down there at the hottest time of the year. So we're seeing a lot of strange events occurring to do with seasons and odd growth. And as well, if we take into consideration that from 2011, January the 1st, I believe, was the first mass bird and fish death that we came across, which no one has ever been able to figure out what's causing that, other than possibly a radar anomaly or some sort of toxins in the waterways. but I'm not sure how all the birds suddenly died. And then we're having mass whale strandings and also dolphin strandings. Now, whales do strand more commonly than dolphins, but right now in Cape Cod, I think on February the 17th, there were 178 dolphins of one species strand. And they have acknowledged that that's the biggest recorded in history ever. And we're seeing more and more dolphin strandings around our planet, and whales, and the death of birds and fish, and they're all unexplained anomalies that really are of major concern, and along with all the tree deaths that we're seeing, and now these seasonal changes, we've got to start really saying to ourselves what is going on here, because it is of major global concern. It's not just something occurring in someone's backyard anymore. This is becoming a mighty strong picture. Now, from moving on to continue with the time issue, we've talked about the clock anomaly, we've talked about the seasons playing up and creeping up in time. I've calculated that I think we're about 2 months ahead of our seasons where they should be. But yesterday in my grass I also noted spring daisies. Now they're perhaps not such a major sign of a seasonal change, but in New Zealand we often only get spring daisies when it is springtime, which for us should be in September, and we're currently in February. So suddenly I'm now seeing almost, and that's where the title of this video comes from, a compression of time. It's as if we have lost time somewhere. And I noticed last year there was a movie brought out, a Hollywood blockbuster called Time, and it was all about losing time. And if we look at all the clues that are given to us, there are indicators around that we can pick up on if we're sort of savvy enough to watch what's going on. And there's no doubt we're losing some time here. Our seasons are compressing. They're still occurring and they're still doing the things they should, like the leaves coming in, the acorns being formed, and then the acorn fall. It's all happening, but it's happening at a super quick pace within half the time span that it should be. We also note that the magnetic North Pole has shifted about 8 degrees. It's now sitting at northeast, and a lot of the top northern airports around the globe have realigned their runways so that the planes can land safely, because of course they all work with magnetic pole. So we're, start ticking the boxes and looking at all the information we're being given. Something really major is occurring on this planet right now, in the here and now. And I noticed when I did a little 2012 predictions card reading a month or so ago, and I had a card out from the side deck, and it was the balance card. And as I went to read it and talk about the fact that the balance card showed there might be some balance for the year, which I still think there will be balance for certain things, a gust of wind caught the card and tilted the camera and blew things really awry. And I've been thinking about it since, and it's come to my mind that in fact that balance card I'm now viewing as if it was talking about the Earth itself, because it was a prediction for the 2012 just globally, and it's as if the Earth is out of balance, it's out of kilter and it's rocking, and we're being shown that more and more as the year goes on. Now I think it does have something to do with the great big hype and talk about pole shift. I think it is occurring. How far is it going to go? I'm not sure yet, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take to happen, but this figure of the 21st of December 2012 seems to have a little bit more implication involved with it now. If we take it back, as I said, 9 months ago, I roughly noticed quite strong changes coming in, and the changes in signs and signals are becoming more and more rapid as we go, with the plants and the animals of the planet, particularly the dolphins, the whales, the birds, the fish, our big trees, our vegetables and fruit. They're all making signs of changes. And if we include the big earthquake we had in Japan last year, which actually gave a slight axis tilt and also a time shift, and so did the Argentine one, we're on the cusp of really big changes. And I think if nothing else, humans or man and society as we know it, for most of us, we can probably adapt to this. We can accept it because we have more ability to make the changes and sort of hunker down and get through it. But the nature perspectives of this planet and the animals, they can't, and it's up to us to try and help make sure that we maintain the integrity for them and try and keep them here on the planet with us as best and as long as we can. So there we are. That was just a little video that I did want to make. That's something that has been on my mind, and I think the more people who understand that there is quite dramatic climate, global, time, seasonal change going on, the better, because if we're more aware of it, we can perhaps learn more about it, we can learn what to do with it, and we can learn how to address it. So anyhow guys, that's my little video on time compression. Thanks, heads up all.